Well, hello everyone. Will I am. Here I am. It's Sunday night. Welcome. Excited to be here. I took the day off yesterday. I apologize if anybody was looking for me, but I decided to take the day off. But wanted to come to you guys live again tonight, Sunday night. Big week coming up, of course, with Christmas week. Seems weird being on a Wednesday for some reason, but it is what it is, and so we have 2 more days. 2 more days, 3 more nights, 3 more sleeps, as I think the kids used to say. But so excited for that time of year, and I don't know if you guys can see my bow tie that I'm wearing tonight. It's actually blue and orange for Broncos. I don't know that that's why they won today, but the good news is that they did win against a team that, well, for my Minnesota friends out there and family, sorry, but they're not a very good team. But big game tomorrow with the Vikings, so that should be fun to watch and see how they do against Green Bay. So, but thanks for everybody for joining. We got people jumping on already. Thank you, Stephanie. Style is my middle name. Not really, but thank you for saying that. So yeah, excited to be here, and I've done some things. I don't know if you guys can tell. You actually can see what that picture is behind me. I moved a light around in my office here to try to get it so you could see. It's actually Frank Sinatra. It's kind of a cool print that I've had for a number of years, and I have it hanging in here. And one of these days I'll show you some of the other prints that I have on the wall, because I don't have a huge love for Frank, but he was awesome and his music's amazing. So, but one of the other big pictures and things that I have is Mickey Mouse, which I'll share more about as we continue along this journey. But I do love Mickey Mouse. You actually might be able to see him right there. There's a picture of me with Mickey Mouse right there, and that's little Mickey here, and Mickey holding a football there, and that's a picture of me with Mickey Mouse. So I'll share more of that at some point, but happy to be here, and we made it through another weekend. Like I said, getting ready to jump into another week, but this is a holiday week, so it should be lots of fun. And so don't know how everybody's weekend was. I've actually had a really, really good weekend. Our youngest son is home. He lives here in Denver, but he lives on the other side of town, and has come to stay with us over the holidays and be with us. He's still got to work and that kind of thing, but it's nice to have him around. And so, anybody out do their Christmas shopping this weekend? Paul and I tried yesterday, and it wasn't too bad. It really, really wasn't. I was impressed and even told her that it was not as intense as I thought it was going to be. People were fairly friendly, and they weren't crazy, and we actually went up by, for those of you local, up by the Park Meadows Mall, and it wasn't too bad. It was manageable. And maybe it was because I'm more at peace that I was able to manage it. I don't know. But I did want to share some stuff with you guys tonight. I had an unbelievable experience yesterday morning. I had a great call with a guy that I kind of going through some stuff with, and we just had a great conversation, a good friend of mine, and then I met with another friend, and we had coffee, and Dunkin' Coffee, which is pretty good coffee, and then I went and met with this other friend of mine who we've been going through a process and actually a book, and the book is actually called the Grief Recovery Handbook, and it was something that came up. This person had gone through this book previously and had thought about going through it again, and I was at a point in my journey that I wanted to start looking at some grief and some loss and some things that I kind of wanted to work through. So it's actually a really cool book, the Grief Recovery Handbook, and it's kind of a true handbook in the fact that there are a handful of, about 6 lessons that you go through in homework assignments that you get together and you do kind of on loss and grief. And it can be anything. They really talk a lot about different things, whether it's grief of someone actually dying, but it could be other things with loss of a job, divorce, maybe some financial things, and really just anything that you feel loss from. They actually have a great description of what loss means, and rather than bore you with trying to figure out what it is or try to find it, it just think that it really can be anything. And so we've been going through this process for the last couple months, and yesterday we got together, and man, I got to tell you, I actually might get emotional telling you about it tonight, but I had an unbelievable experience. About a little more than 6 years ago, my mom passed away, and I had really felt like I had some unresolved grief. I had worked through some things over the last couple of years in regards to that, and growing up in childhood, and a bunch of things, and I'm not going to share all of the stuff, but I realized that I really had some kind of unresolved grief and loss with mom, and again she passed away a little more than 6 years ago. But so we've been working through this process, and there's a bunch of different exercises that we've done, but really what ended up happening yesterday was a very, very powerful experience that I had. And really we were just talking about kind of me and how I had dealt with the issues that I had with mom and growing up and just all the different things. And one of the things in the lesson that it talked about was looking at, there's 3 different things that you go through. One is, what do you need to apologize for? So what were the things that maybe I had done that I should really apologize for, make amends for? Excuse me. And then the other thing is forgiving. Forgiveness is a huge thing that a lot of people struggle with. And one of the things that I try to remember about forgiveness is a lot of people get hung up on forgiveness, and that and if you forgive someone for something they did, that you're condoning the behavior. And it's really not. It has nothing to do with condoning behavior. Forgiveness is really about freeing myself. And when I forgive someone else, it's about freeing me and not necessarily them or what they did. It doesn't make it right. I had a pastor once say, and this is awesome too, forgiveness does not equal justice. Forgiveness is really to free me of the burdens, the heaviness, those weights that I carry about whatever it might have been. It doesn't, and it's not what it was that matters, but forgiving that person, and then kind of moving on, really frees that individual to look at that person in a new way. Again, it's not justice, it's not condoning behavior. It's really just letting go of those really strong, horrible feelings that we might have towards, and it's not even just people sometimes. It might be situations, it might be circumstances, it might be things that we went through. And then the third part of it that it talks about in here is significant emotional statements. And those can range really about anything. And are there significant emotional statements that I really feel have to be made towards others? And so anyways, we were going through this process yesterday, and we were meeting, and I was sharing some things about the last step in this process is that I'll be working on this week, is we actually write a letter. You go through and you write a letter to this individual going through this process, and really it's not that you're going to present the letter to them or anything like that, but you're just going to put down on paper what you're feeling inside, what is heavy on your heart, what has been really eating you alive from the inside out. And look at all the people joining us. Hey everybody, thanks for coming back. For those of you that have joined me on the other nights, I'm glad to have you here. Talking a little bit about an experience that I had yesterday morning on this process that I'm going through on grief and loss recovery. So if you just joined me, that's kind of where I'm at, and sharing a little bit about that, and an experience that I had in relationship to my relationship with my mom, who is now dead and died about a little more than 6 years ago, and fought a long battle with cancer. But so we're going through all these things, and one of the things that I realized was that I really needed to apologize for was I never was the one to instigate reaching out. Like when I left, home as soon as I could. I went to college, and that was kind of the way I was looking at dealing with whatever it was that I did. And it was, as I've learned in the last couple of years, it was the way I dealt with a lot of things, and running away and just trying to forget it and leave it all back there and not deal with it and just move on. But really all I was doing was I wasn't moving on. I was stuffing it deeper and deeper and deeper. And so I realized that, and we were talking about that, and that I really needed to make that amends, to make that apology. And again, I get it. She's dead already, and, you can't really make that to her. So this person I'm working with had me go through an exercise. It was so powerful, where they literally said, well, what would you say to your mom if she was here? And, luckily for me, I'm able to get into a state where I can be a little reflective and really try to put myself there. And really I wanted to see how that felt and see what I can do. And so as I'm sitting there, I kind of closed my eyes a little bit, and the very first thing that I did, as I was trying to invite Mom and her spirit to come in and to be there with me, I literally put my hand up like this. And you can't see, there it is. I put my hand up, and I said these words. I said, no, you can't come in here yet. And I realized at that point in time, and it wasn't Mom that was pushing me away or anything like that. It was me really pushing her. And I said, you don't get this. And what I meant was, you don't get me. And like I said, I may get emotional here. So, and it was just so powerful, because I could really feel the hurt, the anger, just those negative emotions that I had carried around for a really, really long time. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm feeling that, and I'm having this moment with my mom's spirit, and I can really feel, even just sharing this with you guys right now, I can feel her spirit here right now, because as I'll share with you in a minute how I invited her to come back. But I'm going through this experience, and really feeling her. And then I'm a very visual type of person, and if you've ever seen the movie The Shack, it's one of my all-time favorite movies. It's got an unbelievable storyline. The book is even better. I actually have it. I'm going to watch it here in the next week or so, or over the holiday break. And but in that movie, Mac, who's the main character of the story, has an experience very similar to what I'm sharing with you with my mom, and where he had a very abusive father, very physically, mentally, emotionally abusive father, and there's all kinds of things around that, and Mac had to go through the same kind of experience. And in the movie, he's literally standing, and he's brought there by the Trinity. Again, if you haven't seen the movie, it's about the Holy Spirit, God, and Jesus all coming together with Mac at this shack out in the wilderness. And they bring him to this field. And his dad is walking out, and he walks out and meets his dad. And I was in that same place yesterday. I literally was able to... I just said the word literally, Jake. Sorry, that was a side note. It was kind of a funny conversation that happened earlier today. But I was able to put myself in that place, and I was standing there in the middle of this field with Mom and her spirit. And it was, in all honesty and truthfulness, what you'll find out is it was really hard. It was hard to be there, and hard to really let go of that, because I could feel that anger and that resentment and it's those emotions that I had carried around for a long time, and I could feel all those. But suffice to say, this went on for a few minutes, and I went through a process where I literally forgave her, and also apologized to her for the things that I had done, the things that I had said, for not being there, for not reaching out. And I was the son that left, right? I was the when I could leave home, I did, and so I was able to make those amends, but I was also to go through and offer forgiveness and have some peace, and it was such a cool experience because I could feel her spirit and me, not only physically but my spiritual being, both coming together and embracing, and I hadn't had that for a long time, and so it was very, very powerful, and it went on for some time, and then I kind of came out of it, and then this person I'm working with actually invited me to go back in, and I did, and able to get a little bit more closure. But I guess the biggest part about that was that I did get some unbelievable closure, some unbelievable release of just overpowering negative things that have I've carried around for a long time. But I was also able, as I had mentioned, was able to invite her to come back, and invite her to be part of me and my life, now moving forward. And it was extremely powerful. And I share this tonight with you guys just because there's a lot of loss, and there's a lot of hurt, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of resentment, there's a lot of people that carry around these things for a good portion of their lives, and I can tell you from firsthand experience how freeing it is to be able to go through a process, and share that process, number one, with another human being, now sharing it with you guys. And the healing that can come from that it's just tremendous. And as many of you know, I have a good relationship with God, and I'm trying to get it stronger and stronger and stronger. And that was one of the things that I felt yesterday, was not only the presence of Mom's spirit with me, but I also felt the presence of God, and that God was there, and he not only took my burdens that I had been carrying around for so long, but he took hers too, and she was able to get a sense of relief and just peace. And I know she's in a great place, and I know that she's looking down right now. She's right here with us, but I also know that God is, and he was part of that process. And he is the ultimate healer, and is the one that I turn to when it comes to these kinds of things, because he was there 2.5 years. Well, he's always been there. He never left. I was the one that left, but he is the one that I can turn to in all these times, and will comfort and give me the strength that I need. So again, I know there's a lot of people that struggle with a lot of different things. Life is hard. I joked with someone earlier today, life is a 4-letter word. And it can be hard sometimes, but I think I had mentioned this maybe the other night, where one of my favorite sayings is finding joy in the struggle, and some days it's much easier than other days. And by no means am I perfect at it. I still get taken down and tackled by life. But the good news is that even if I get knocked down, I can get back up. And it's actually funny, that brings me back to, I had Mickey Mouse. I showed you guys Mickey Mouse at the beginning, and I have 2 heroes. One is Mickey Mouse, and that's because Mickey Mouse never grows old, and he always has fun, and I want to live like that. I know I'm getting old, but older. I'm not old, but and I want to have fun. Life is too short. We're here for such a short blip, and there's enough grumpy people in the world. I don't want to be one of them. But the other one, I'm talking about getting knocked down. My other hero that I have is Rocky Balboa, and it's not Sylvester Stallone, but it's Rocky Balboa. And it's Rocky Balboa because, you know what, I loved his movies. He was always an underdog. He he got beat up a lot, he got knocked down a lot, but in a great amount of his movies, he always got back up. And what was really cool about the storyline that I see in his movies is, it didn't matter how many times he got knocked down, he always got back up, and a lot of those times that he got back up, he was stronger. And that's what I love about my recovery journey and where I'm at in life right now, is that I now get to realize that no matter what happens, there's an opportunity for me to learn. There's also an opportunity for me to see what's good in it. I have another thing. I try to do this, and it's so hard that when something happens, or I'm in a situation where something goes on and it's less than desirable, is to try to look at that differently, and instead of self-pity or being depressed or down, I really try to turn and look to God and say, okay, what is it I'm supposed to learn from this? And the cool part about that is I may never learn. I might not. I may never know what the lesson was that I needed to learn. And maybe the lesson wasn't even for me to learn. Maybe it was for someone else to learn. And I got to be a part of that. And again, that's so easy for me to sit here and say, to do that, but man, it's hard to put into practice. It really is. But the more I try, it's just like anything, right? The more we try, the more we practice, the easier it gets and the better we get at it. And so that's what I try to do. So, that's kind of my story for tonight. I did want to share that. It was really, really powerful. And I know that, as I shared these other nights that we've been on here is, the holidays are a great time of year, but they also can be a stressful time of year. And my prayer for everyone that's watching or watches this after it's posted, that you all have a great and safe holiday season, that Christmas time is filled with joy and splendor and all the things. And let's not try to get caught up in the gifts, but let's pay attention to who the giver is. And really, I think the truest gift is when we give to others. And it's not necessarily about the stuff. The stuff is great. We all love this stuff. I mean, we all have plenty of stuff. We're very fortunate people. And some have more than others, but it's not my job to look at anybody else and think that they have more than me and I want to have more. That's not my job. My job is to be grateful and happy with what I have. And I'm exceptionally grateful because I've been blessed with a lot. And this is such a great week because I get to see my family and be there with them and be so proud of the young men that we get to call our children because they are growing into great young men and I just hope that they see me as an example, and I am proud of them, and they're great human beings, and they're great people that are going to do great things in this world. So with that, I will sign off for the night. Again, thank you all. It humbles me to see everyone join. I wish you all a very Merry Christmas. I will talk to you before that, but if you don't jump on and join me, that's okay. And if you don't, then have a Merry Christmas. And we will see you all soon. Signing off. Peace out.